Tonight, several breaking stories. President Biden and the backlash now after pardoning his son. The horrific scene tonight on the interstate, the storm, several tractor trailers and cars colliding. Ginger's now here on the new storm coming. And just in, video of a passenger who got past security and gate agents boarding a flight at JFK, that flight taking off. First tonight, President Biden and this backlash, and not just from Republicans tonight, after pardoning his son Hunter. The president reversing course after insisting to ABC News that he would not pardon his son. So what changed? Mary Bruce with new reporting. Also, the images coming in tonight, the massive highway pileup in whiteout conditions. Nearly 20 cars and multiple tractor trailers colliding. Snow emergencies from Michigan to New York to Pennsylvania. And Ginger standing by on that new system. She'll have the forecast. The new video just in tonight, the passenger getting past security and those agents at the gate. Boarding a Delta flight at JFK, the passengers on board had no idea until the plane landed, and then the announcement on board. Late today, the emotional scene in court. The young woman, an alleged drunk driver, accused of killing a bride on her wedding night, slamming into the golf cart, carrying the bride and groom, and the sudden plea today, and then the sentence from the judge. President-elect Donald Trump's controversial pick to head the FBI, who has promised vengeance against Trump's enemies. There's also news tonight on Trump's pick to run the Pentagon. The former Fox News host and now the New York Times reporting his own mother allegedly emailed him about his behavior toward women. The rescue, a pregnant woman behind the wheel calling 911, saying her car would not slow down, her brakes failing, and that she was headed toward a lake. How police then saved her. The big night for Elton John, his musical, and what he then revealed on stage about his health. Two major recalls tonight, one involving eggs, and America's strong here along the U.S. coast here in the Northeast. The urgent effort tonight to save the sea turtles. You'll see it.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. It is great to be back with all of you at home. I hope you had a wonderful and safe Thanksgiving. We are tracking a horrific scene on the interstate in Michigan, a major pileup, snow emergencies in that state, in New York and Pennsylvania too, and the new storm now coming. So Ginger's standing by. But we do begin tonight with the backlash after President Biden pardoned his son Hunter, issuing a, quote, full and unconditional pardon to his son. It was during my interview with the president in Normandy in June. I pressed the president on this very issue. The president told me he would not pardon Hunter. But last night he did, issuing a statement saying he believes his son was selectively and unfairly prosecuted, writing, no reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he's my son, and that is wrong. Tonight, Republicans and many Democrats blasting the move. President-elect Trump saying the pardon itself is an abuse and miscarriage of justice. ABC's chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce leading us off tonight.
Tonight, the fallout from President Biden's stunning reversal, issuing a full and unconditional pardon of his son Hunter, something for months the president insisted he would not do, emphatic when David pressed him in June.
Will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
But now, just weeks before President-elect Donald Trump is set to return to the White House, the president saying Hunter was selectively and unfairly prosecuted. The Biden family, we've learned, discussed the possibility of a pardon while spending the Thanksgiving holiday together in Nantucket. The president reaching his final decision Sunday, making it official just hours later. Writing in a statement, it is clear that Hunter was treated differently. No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he is my son. And that is wrong. Adding there is no reason to believe it will stop here. Enough is enough. Jill Biden, who is often seen in the courtroom supporting her son, today backing her husband. Hunter Biden was convicted in June on federal charges for lying on a gun form, and in September he pleaded guilty in a last-minute deal to 9 tax-related charges, accused of avoiding paying $1.4 million in taxes while living lavishly, taxes he had since paid back. He was scheduled to be sentenced later this month in each case, potentially facing more than a decade in prison.
It's a very tough argument to make that if he wasn't Hunter Biden, he would have been charged with this gun crime. One gun, not used in a crime, person has no criminal record.
But now he's received a sweeping pardon, covering not just those charges, but any uncharged crimes between 2014 and 2024. For months, the president tried to avoid any appearance of interfering with his son's cases.
I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
But now saying, here's the truth. I believe in the justice system, but as I have wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has infected this process, and it led to a miscarriage of justice. Adding, I hope Americans will understand why a father and a president would come to this decision. Trump has vowed retribution against his political opponents and for years attacked Hunter and the Biden family. His team tonight saying President Biden's decision bolsters their case that the Justice Department has been weaponized. Trump posting that the pardon was an abuse and miscarriage of justice. And it's not just Republicans on the Hill tonight. Some Democrats questioning the president's move to pardon his own son.
I expect all presidents to make sure that justice is carried out independently. And, I wish the president kept his word.
Despite his repeated promises not to issue this pardon, clearly the charges against his son continue to weigh heavily on the president. And tonight, the White House concedes that Donald Trump was a factor here, that the president was concerned that he wouldn't let up, that the Trump administration would go after Hunter. David.
Mary Bruce leading us off from the White House. Mary, thank you. We're going to turn now to the awful scene on a Michigan interstate and the weather emergencies across several states at this hour. Winter weather alerts for millions from Michigan to New York to Pennsylvania. More than 5 feet of lake effect snow in parts of western New York. Multiple accidents in Westfield along Lake Erie. Near Kalamazoo, Michigan, parts of I-94 closed in both directions after that major pileup involving nearly 20 vehicles, multiple tractor trailers. We've learned at least one driver is in critical condition tonight. And now another system right behind it. Trevor Roll from Adams, New York, south of Watertown tonight.
Tonight, the massive winter blast causing chaos on the roads. Kalamazoo, Michigan, a stretch of I-94 near Hartford shut down. More than a dozen cars and 3 semi-trucks piled up, at least one driver in critical condition. Near Watertown, New York, whiteout conditions on I-81 Sunday. Car after car buried in snowbanks, families socked in.
So here in Watertown, New York today, they are digging out. Look at these giant piles of snow. Some areas nearby had 58 inches.
The governors of New York and Pennsylvania declaring emergencies. In Fredonia, New York, Wanda Hall thankful for the local tree service who dug her out for free.
They said that they will come down and not to worry about everything. It'll be taken care of.
And in Orchard Park, Buffalo Bills fans joining crews clearing the stadium for Sunday's game against the 49ers. The epic snow and bitter cold coming on the heels of record-breaking holiday travel. The TSA says they screened more than 3 million people Sunday, their busiest day ever.
And, David, some areas are still under snow alerts through tomorrow. Look how much is already piled up here. It's staggering, and another wave of lake effect snow is likely later this week. Winter is here, David.
Yeah, it comes every year. So does the lake effect machine, but it is still something to see. Trevor, thank you. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Ginger Zee tracking the snow, the bitter cold. And Ginger, now another system behind all this?
Yes, we've got it all. David, that biting cold that we're standing in here is flowing over the Great Lakes, which are record warm temperatures, by the way. And that difference in temperature is fuel for more lake effect, another 5 to 12 inches yet with this flow. So winter storm warnings and lake effect snow warnings for the next 12 to 24 hours, depending on where you are. Then the Alberta Clipper comes in. It's Wednesday, and then by Wednesday night, it becomes snow almost all throughout Appalachia and the Green and White Mountains in New England. But near the coast, it's a mix of rain and snow. So it's not going to add up too much. It's going to move fast, but it will also usher in the next big push of cold air, more lake effect, and even record lows as far south as Asheville. David?
Ginger Zee with us. We'll see you first thing in the morning on GMA. Thank you, Ginger. We turn next tonight to the new video just in of that passenger accused in that security breach at JFK Airport in New York. Getting past security and then getting past the ticket agents at the gate. Boarding a Delta flight to Paris, the plane then taking off. Passengers on board had no idea until that plane landed, and then the announcement. ABC's Gio Benitez with the images tonight.
Tonight, for the first time, we are seeing the woman who managed to sneak past airport workers and onto an international Delta flight from JFK to Paris.
Please, stop, help me. I don't want to go to United States.
Officials struggling as they tried to send her back to the U.S. on another Delta flight. According to sources, the woman was so unruly, she had to be removed, and she remains in France. It was last Tuesday when pilots made the startling announcement after crew members discovered there was a passenger illegally on board.
They took us to the captain. We're just waiting for the police to come on board.
The TSA says the woman bypassed the ID check podium, went through security, then slipped past a Delta Gate agent. The crew and passengers, noticing the woman, would never sit down.
During the flight, she was seen moving from one lavatory to another, never actually going to a passenger seat.
French officials telling ABC News the suspected stowaway passenger is a Russian national and a legal resident of the U.S. And David, we don't know yet if the woman will be charged or how she would get back to the U.S., but Delta tonight says it is conducting an exhaustive investigation. David.
Gio Benitez with us tonight. Gio, thank you. Late today, the emotional scene in court. The young woman, a drunk driver, accused of killing a bride on her wedding night, slamming into the golf cart, carrying the bride and groom. Well, today, the sudden plea and then the sentence. Here's Eva Pilgrim.
Tonight, it was a tragedy that stunned the nation. A South Carolina bride killed by a drunk driver on her wedding night. The crash minutes after this joyful moment on a spring evening in 2023. 34-year-old Samantha Miller still in her wedding dress, riding in a golf cart with her new husband.
The last thing I remember her saying was she wanted the night to never end.
Investigators say they were hit by Jamie Lee Komorowski, who was driving 65 in a 25 miles per hour zone. According to the toxicology report, her blood alcohol level was more than 3 times the legal limit. Today, the 27-year-old driver set to face trial, instead pleading guilty to DUI and reckless homicide, tearfully apologizing to the family.
How sorry I am, and that I take full responsibility for my actions.
Samantha's mother and father asking for the maximum sentence.
She died. We died.
Outraged their daughter was taken so soon.
For the rest of my life, I'm gonna hate you. And when I arrive in hell and you come there, I'll open the door for you.
And the judge did give Komorowski the maximum sentence, 25 years behind bars. David.
Eva Pilgrim reporting in tonight. Eva, thank you. Now to President-elect Donald Trump's controversial pick to head the FBI. Trump tapping loyalist Kash Patel to lead the FBI. Patel has promised vengeance against Trump's enemies. There's also news tonight on Trump's pick to run the Pentagon. And here's Jonathan Karl.
Tonight, Republicans are bracing for what could be Donald Trump's biggest Senate confirmation battle over his choice to run the FBI. Fervent Trump loyalist Kash Patel.
He's tough, he's smart, he loves our country, and he is a warrior. Kash Patel.
Patel has vowed vengeance against Trump's enemies in what he calls the deep state, writing in his book, quote, "The FBI has become so thoroughly compromised that it will remain a threat to the people unless drastic measures are taken," adding, Trump's enemies, quote, "should be very afraid."
We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice.
Another controversial Trump nominee on the Hill tonight, Trump's pick to lead the Pentagon, Pete Hegseth. He's already faced allegations, which he denies, of sexual assault. And now the New York Times has obtained an email written by the former Fox News weekend anchor's mother in 2018, accusing him of being, quote, "an abuser of women," who belittles, lies, cheats, sleeps around, and uses women for his own power and ego. According to the Times, Hegseth's mother said she sent her son an immediate follow-up email apologizing the next day, and that she fired off the original email in anger with emotion during Hegseth's very difficult divorce.
So that article suggests you have an alcohol problem.
All right, thanks, guys.
Hegseth is also the subject of a damning report in The New Yorker, describing multiple instances of alleged financial mismanagement and workplace behavior concerns involving alcohol, citing an internal whistleblower report and emails related to an organization he used to head, including one instance where he brought his employees to a strip club and, quote, Hegseth had to be restrained while drunk from joining the dancers on the stage. ABC News has not independently confirmed the reporting. A Hegseth advisor telling ABC, "We're not going to comment on outlandish claims laundered through The New Yorker by a petty and jealous, disgruntled former associate of Mr. Hegseth's." As for Kash Patel, he is so controversial that when President Trump talked about making him the deputy FBI director back in 2020, then Attorney General Bill Barr said the move would happen, quote, "over my dead body." Barr later writing, "The very idea of moving Patel into a role like this showed a shocking detachment from reality. Now, David, of course, he is up for a more powerful position.
To head the FBI, John Carl live in Washington. John, thank you. Tonight, President-elect Trump with a blunt warning for Hamas. Matt Gutman with that from Israel.
Tonight, President-elect Trump with a blunt new warning to Hamas, demanding they free the hostages before he takes office in January, or there will be, quote, all hell to pay in the Middle East. Trump calling the kidnappings atrocities against humanity. And it comes hours after the IDF notified Omer Nutra's family that the Long Island, New York native had been killed in this attack on the tank he commanded, one of the first images streamed by Hamas on October 7th. The high school basketball captain's body dragged into Gaza 14 months ago. Only 3 of the 7 kidnapped Americans still held by Hamas remain alive.
And David, that tenuous ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah tested today, but still officially holding. And that leaves the other Iranian group that Israel is fighting, Hamas, isolated, with the incoming Trump administration exerting ever more pressure on it to agree to a ceasefire and a hostage release. David.
The world watching. Matt Gutman tonight. Thank you. When we come back here in the U.S., the pregnant woman, her frantic call to 911 saying her car wouldn't slow down, her brakes were failing. How police then saved her, and you'll see this in a moment. And what Elton John revealed on stage about his health to a very moved audience. Tonight, a harrowing rescue in Williamson County, Illinois. A pregnant woman calling 911 saying her car would not slow down and that she was headed toward a lake.
I need help. My brakes won't stop. My car won't stop. My brakes aren't working.
Now, the dash cam video shows deputies actually catching up to her vehicle. She was going about 30 miles per hour. A deputy pulling his cruiser in front of her car, using his brakes to stop them both. The pregnant driver still on the phone.
I'm going to hit the cop. I'm going to hit him.
Just incredible. Both she and the baby unharmed. When we come back here tonight, 2 major food recalls, including eggs tonight, and Elton John and what he told that audience. To the index of other news, Sir Elton John revealing he has lost his eyesight. Following the London premiere of his new musical, The Devil Wears Prada, he revealed he couldn't watch it himself. He could only listen.
I haven't been able to come to many of the previews because, as you know, I've lost my eyesight, so it's hard for me to see it, but I love to hear it. And boy, it sounded good tonight, okay?
You remember last week he told our Robin Roberts he lost sight in his right eye because of an infection and can barely see out of his left eye. Tonight, 2 food recalls due to possible salmonella concerns. Costco recalling more than 10,000 packages of Kirkland brand organic pasture-raised 24-count eggs. The eggs sold across the South with a use-by date of January 5th. And cucumbers, SunFed recalling whole American cucumbers sold between October 12th and November 26th. At least 68 people sickened in 19 states. A passing to note tonight, Art Cashin, a fixture on Wall Street, has died. UBS's director of floor operations. The Washington Post dubbing him Wall Street's version of Walter Cronkite. Here at ABC News, we often turn to him for insights on the market. I always remember how kind and welcoming he was. Art Cashin was 83. When we come back here tonight, the race to save the sea turtles right here on the U.S. coastline.
ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, sponsored by Pacific Life, creating financial security for nearly 160 years.
Finally tonight, America Strong, the race to save the sea turtles. Tonight, all along the Cape Cod coastline, the careful, remarkable rescues, the extraordinary effort to save the sea turtles. At the New England Aquarium's Sea Turtle Hospital in Quincy, Massachusetts, more than 250 turtles are being treated for hypothermia. The team documenting each one of them, taking their temperature, checking their heartbeat, acclimating them to warmer water. Volunteer pilots with the nonprofit Turtles Fly 2, flying some of them to North Carolina for treatment. The sea turtles were what's called cold stunned by the changing temperatures. Marine biologists say the turtles are drawn further north by the rising temperatures during the summer and early fall, but then trapped by the rapid change in temperature. Staff and volunteers from the Massachusetts Audubon Wellfleet Bay Wildlife Sanctuary walking beaches along Cape Cod Bay in search of those cold-stunned turtles again today, many of them in critical condition, finding 12 more turtles just this afternoon. And right here tonight,
hi, David.
Senior biologist Kristen Louise.
The goal of the rehabilitation process was to release every turtle back into the wild population to hopefully live for many years to come.
Incredible work. Another 12 turtles just this afternoon. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir America's most watched newscast.